everyone.
On behalf of Virat, Hindustan, Sangam, Tamilnadu, we welcome you all to this interactive session with Dr.Swamy. First, we will begin with a devotional song. Following that, lighting. First we will light the lamp. Following that, we will have a devotional song, and then the program will commence. I request you everyone to stand up for the invocation song.
வாழிய செந்தமிழ் வாழ்க நற்றமிழர் வாழிய பாரத மணித்திருநாடு இன்றெமை வருத்தும் இன்னல்கள் மாய்க நன்மை வந்தெய்துக தீதெல்லாம் நலிக அறம் வளர்ந்திடுக மரம் மடி உருக வாழிய செந்தமிழ் வாழ்க நற்றமிழர் வாழிய பாரத மணித்திருநாடு வந்தே மாதரம் வந்தே மாதரம் வந்தே மாதரம். Thank you.
First, I request our Honorable State President, Chandralekha ji, to give the welcome address.
Namaskaram to everybody. I'm happy to see so many of you on a working day like this, having responded to our invitation, having registered, and having been in this place to hear Dr. Swamy. This is a subject, a very important subject, but most of the people don't know what it is about. Many agitations are taking place in the campuses and also outside, instigated by many political parties. But none of those who are participating in these agitations don't know what it is all about, and nor are those who are organizing these agitations, whether it is a political party or some foreign agencies or missionaries. They know what it is, but they are unnecessarily spreading unfounded fear in the minds of the people. So today, after Dr. Swamy's speech, I am sure all of you will go back with a very clear understanding of what these three acts mean and how it is needed for this country. A country is not a chowtry, it is not a chatram. Ramalinga Vallalar at Vadalur established a chowtry. But even there people were given free food and free place to stay. But even that was only for 3 days, not for continuously forever they couldn't stay there. When that is the case with a chowtry, how can you expect a country to get an influx of foreigners into this country and change the demographic pattern of this country? Actually, Europe is in great danger because they allowed liberally people to come at one point of time, and today they are regretting that move, and many of these countries will soon become a Muslim majority country. Recently, I went to an Argentina embassy to get a visa. After all, I am visiting that country only for about 7 to 8 days. But then they gave me a long questionnaire asking all kinds of questions and my financial status. They wanted 3 years IT record, etc. When just for a 10-day visit to that country, so many questions are being asked. For you to become a citizen of this country and to prove that you are a citizen of the country, should we not ask them questions? It's very important for many reasons. So I think Dr. Swamy will explain all these to you today, and you will go back with a fund of knowledge. I don't want to stand between you and Dr. Swamy. So I welcome all of you who have come today. And at this juncture, I would also like to thank RR Sabha office bearers for having kindly given us and being graciously giving us this hall at a very short notice. And I would like to thank my team which has made this possible, consisting of Karur Mogan, Swaminathan, Ramesh Seturaman, Ravi, and Madan Raj, and Raghupati, etc. If I left out anybody, I'm very sorry about it, but it was not intentional. Thank you very much. And now, Jagdish Shetty, who is our National General Secretary of the Virat Hindustan Sangam, which has been founded by Dr. Swamy, mainly to create awareness among our educated youth about India's true culture, our heritage, so that they will become empowered. He will now deliver his presidential address. Thank you.
Thank you, Chandralekha ji, our President of the Tamilnadu unit of Virat Hindustan Sangam, Dr. Subramanian Swamy, Virat Hindustan Sangam activists and friends. First of all, the Tamilnadu unit of VHS, as we call it in short, should be complimented for organizing this interaction with Dr. Swamy on an important subject like this. I will be briefly telling you about our organization Virat Hindustan Sangam. Many of them, you all are here present, are members, but some people who have directly registered for the event and come here, I just want to educate you, and also those who are watching our event live on webcast for their benefit, a little bit of what is Virat Hindustan Sangam. Run up to the 2014 elections, virtually from 2010, lot of social media activists who are following Dr. Swamy and who are active on the social media were periodically meeting from virtually 2010 to 2014 in various conferences of social media, Patriotic Social Media Foundation organized programs where Dr. Swamy used to frequently interact with them on important subjects confronting the country, especially on the 2G corruption and all the Hindutva issues. After the 2014 election in mid-September, in a conference in Delhi of one of these Tweeple Foundation, when I mean Tweeple is people who are active on Twitter are known as Tweeples, we decided to form this organization, Virat Hindustan Sangam, under the leadership of Dr. Swamy. We are virtually present in about 22 states, and some states like Tamil Nadu are very active in its activities. We have a presence in many of the countries abroad, Australia, Singapore, parts of Europe, UK, USA, Canada, and the Middle East. So basically, what is this Virat Hindustan Sangam? We are not a political party. Maybe there are some members of a political party associated with us, but in some states, other political party members are also there. So it's not restricted to one political party. We are not a political organization. But as you must have seen our website, I want you to note the website for those who are new to this event and new to us. Our website is www.VHS, that is the short form of Virat Hindustan Sangam, vhsindia.org. Please visit our website, know about us and our activities and our office bearer, and register yourself at the website. You may have registered for this. We'll try to link all of those newcomers also to our registry, but you are free to go to the website and register yourself. Basically, what does VHS do and what does it stand for? As I mentioned, it is all the social media activists in various forms, whether it is Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or other mediums like WhatsApp and all that. Those who are active have come together to propagate the views as propounded by Dr.Swamy, and basically we are active organizing such type of programs. Dr.Swamy, even at this age, is active, goes about the country. Yesterday he was in Delhi, today 2 programs here, tomorrow 2 programs in Ahmedabad. Saturday he is having 2 programs in Calcutta, Sunday 2 programs in Bangalore, and then in Khandwa. So such things goes on, non-stop it goes on. Other people are not venturing out, but he has been active and on the forefront. Even on this constitutional amendment which has taken place to the Citizenship Act, it was VHS Maharashtra which had a first meeting as way back as 14th of December to educate the people in Mumbai on the CAA. What I am trying to tell you is, educate and empower is our motto of Virat Hindustan Sangam. So on all these such issues, we have interaction sessions. Dr. Swamy, you know, from virtually 4 o'clock in the morning is very active on Twitter, and interaction takes place. As per a recent survey, it was said, not only on followers but on interaction, Dr. Swamy is the #1 man on Twitter because he interacts with the Twitter followers. So Virat Hindustan Sangam basically stands for 5 points. Number 1, what is my identity? Who am I? Incidentally, Dr. Swamy is tomorrow speaking at the Indus University in Ahmedabad tomorrow on this very topic, who am I? What is my heritage? Am I just because I hold an Indian passport? Am I Indian because I hold an Indian passport, or am I part of the great Indian culture which is nearly more than 5,000 years old? Second is, we are for rewriting of the correct history of India. You know all this which has been fed to us, including what is being disinformation campaign, and especially in places like Tamilnadu, is because of the wrong history written by Westerners, leftists and foreigners that has been fed to us. So rewriting of history is the second part. The third part is promoting Sanskrit, so that most of our Indian languages are linked to Sanskrit, and it will encourage people to know more about us, and we feel pride in knowing Sanskrit, which is an ancient language and which is not a dead language but is a very important language, and perhaps the language of the future too. As you know, as per artificial intelligence, Sanskrit has been found to be the best language. Fourth point, we believe in integral humanism, an economic form where market forces and individual and the nation should be developed. We don't believe in capitalism, we don't believe in communism. We believe in integral humanism as propounded by Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyay, one of our Jansangh presidents in the 60s. And the fifth point, we believe all concepts of Ram Rajya. When we believe in Ram Rajya, we are not only talking about building a temple at the birthplace at Ayodhya, but we believe in all the aspects of Ram Rajya, good governance, corrupt practices, and lifestyle, our family relation, importance of family and cultural values. So these are the 5 points Virat Hindustan Sangam stands for. I would be happy if most of you come and join Virat Hindustan Sangam. Many of you may be feeling, no, I have joined, it's enough. No, we want you to reach out to thousands of people who are active and who do not know how to link up with Dr.Swamy, Chandralekha or our Virat Hindustan team. So it is your turn in your offices, in your workplaces, in your institutions or in your family circle, because numerous places people want to reach out to Dr. Swamy and its team. So you should be the link between our organization and to the vast masses, especially I am talking in Tamil Nadu. People have a desire and an urge to encourage nationalistic forces in this country. Last 50, 60 years, our state has been pushed backwards. Now is the time for all right-thinking people to come forward and to consolidate the Hindutva and nationalistic forces. So I would request you to please help in the development of Virat Hindustan Sangam. I once again thank Chandralekha and an entire team who are active on the social media for having promoted and organized this program. What matters is the quality of people and what matters is the idea we want to spread. I also thank Dr. Swamy for always finding time for VHS activities, and we hope we'll have further such interaction with Tamil Nadu groups. Thank you. Jai Hind.
So next is going to be the session for which we all gathered here today. So I welcome Dr. Swamy to deliver his speech.
Thank you very much, Chandralekha ji, Jagdish ji, and office bearers of the Virat Hindustan Sangam and people in this august audience. We are gathered here to discuss a matter which is crucial for the future building of our nation. Although it's just a simple amendment bill that was passed, it has triggered all the hidden fears of many people and has also given us an opportunity to define nationhood more clearly. In 1947, when we became independent, I should say we became free, Parmacharya had said that now that we have become free, let us also become independent. And people in those days couldn't figure out what's the difference. There is a difference, and I'll speak about it later in my speech. But when we became independent, it was on the basis of a bill passed by the UK, that is the British House of Parliament, that is in particular the House of Commons, which bill was called the Indian Independence Bill and later known as the Indian Independence Act. That was necessary because only India was a legal entity and the British were the rulers. So now, when they had decided to create a Pakistan, the British decided also at the same time to make every kingdom that was indirectly ruled by the British, 600 of them, into independent countries. So in 1947, when the British Parliament adopted the Indian Independence Act, they didn't create just two countries, or one country which was divided into two. But actually they created 602 countries. And all the princely states, as they were called, became independent countries. In 1935, the British had introduced a constitution for India, which of course became null and void on 1947. But in that, they had said that if any kingdom wishes to join the British Empire and become part of British India as a part of British India, then they must sign something called the Instrument of Accession. And that Instrument of Accession requires only the king to sign on a piece of paper that he is merging his kingdom with British India. And it did not require the king to seek the opinion of the people over which his kingdom prevailed. So just a mere signature of the king was legally enough by the British Indian Constitution that time, 1935, to become a part of India. And they said once you merge, you can never again separate out of what was then British India. So in the House of Parliament or the House of Commons, when this question was raised under what legal procedure the kingdoms could become part of either India or Pakistan, the British said that the same Instrument of Accession will be a legal document by which the princely states can merge into either countries or remain independent. Most of the 600 countries, 600 then independent countries, the princely kingdoms, decided to merge with either Pakistan or India. With India, thanks to Sardar Patel, who dealt with each king separately, and he adopted the old Sanskrit maxim of Samadamu Beda Dand, where it was necessary for him to show the stick of law. He did it. He did it with Hyderabad. And by his sheer effort, 500 of the kingdoms of 600 merged into India. And about 100 merged into Pakistan. A few countries, a few kingdoms decided not to. They said, no, we'll remain independent. One was Junagadh, but then the king was a Muslim king. He got scared and he ran away to Pakistan, leaving his kingdom. He took away 500 of his dogs, but he didn't take any of the citizens of his kingdom. And he went away to Karachi. So Sardar Patel then moved the troops there to avoid chaos, and the population was majority Hindu. In fact, it was 89% Hindu, and they all rejoiced in joining. So Junagadh became part of India. In the case of Hyderabad, the Nizam decided to say, I'm going to join neither India nor Pakistan. I'll be an independent country. And but the Razakars in his kingdom decided to go beyond the borders and attack neighboring Hindu areas, butchering them, and they created a major, human rights problem. So Sardar Patel sent the army to the borders of Hyderabad. He didn't send it into Hyderabad. But Nizam panicked and he signed the Instruments of Accession. So that's how Hyderabad became part of India. In the case of Kashmir, there was a Hindu king in a then Muslim majority area because Jammu had not been added. But the fact is that he decided that he will make Kashmir into a Switzerland of the world. That's what he said. But no sooner he made that announcement, Jinnah sent the military into Kashmir, and they came very near Srinagar. And then the king got panicky, came running to India. And that time he couldn't meet Jawaharlal Nehru. He was not there. He was, I think, probably abroad. He was seeing some special friends of his in London, whom I did not name. But he met Sardar Patel and said, that please save me, send the Indian army. He said, how can I? You are a separate country. So he said, no, we'll worry about that later. But you please save me now because they have come to Baramulla. It's only a matter of one day for them to come to Srinagar. So he pulled out the instrument taxation from his drawer and said, sign here first, then only it will go. Otherwise, you go and meet your fate. And that blackmail worked, and the king meekly signed the instrument taxation, which means Kashmir, Jammu, Leh, all became an integral part of India, and under the British 1935 Constitution can never be revoked. That cannot be reversed. It's an independent, it's a part of India. When Jawaharlal Nehru returned, of course, he was aghast, and he had a huge fight with Patel, and then he decided to go to the United Nations without cabinet approval, without the cabinet knowing, without Sardar Patel knowing, without Mahatma Gandhi knowing. He went to the UN and filed a petition there in what he called as a dispute, when in fact he should have filed the petition under the clause of aggression. So he immediately accepted it was a dispute, and then the UN issued some instructions which Pakistan didn't follow, and then the matter just dragged on and on. I'm telling you all this because you have to see this Citizen Amendment Bill or Citizen Amendment Act now in that context. So therefore, this Kashmir problem has lingered on, and Jawaharlal Nehru agreed to a ceasefire, even though the Indian army had advanced straight into what is now called as Azad Kashmir or Pakistan-held Kashmir, occupied Kashmir. And Muzaffarabad, the capital of POK, was captured by the Indian army. But Jawaharlal Nehru made the army come back. And thereafter, the state of affairs of Kashmir, you know. Now, in the aftermath of after August 15th, 1947, there was an assurance given by Mahatma Gandhi to the Hindus that he is working to see whether we can rejoin again now that the British have gone. He said it will be easier for me to deal with Jinnah. So a lot of people on that faith decided to stay in Pakistan, even though they were Hindus. And the whole movement was led by the Muslim League, which had regarded the Hindus as enemies. So therefore, a problem began where the local Muslims decided to grab the properties of the Hindus, occupy their houses, forcibly convert their children, and do all kinds of atrocities. So an exodus started. Exodus from this side, not by being pushed out, but by willingly, a large number of Muslims went. So there was a real massive flow of citizens of both states crossing each other. And suddenly then Jawaharlal Nehru decided to hold a meeting with the Prime Minister of Kashmir, Prime Minister of Pakistan called Liaquat Ali. And they jointly said that they will protect their respective minorities. That was in 1950. In 1947, the Congress Working Committee in November 18th met and said that the plight of the Hindus and Sikhs is horrible in Pakistan. And the government of India should be liberal in allowing them to come to India and become citizens of India. Because according to the Constitution, whoever was in what is called India, maybe partition, but it was called India, became automatically citizens of India. So anyone after that could only become after the government had enacted a law, which is called the Citizenship Act, which finally became an act in only 1955, where there's a procedure on how you can become a citizen. Sonia Gandhi has become citizen according to Section 6 of the Section 5 of the Citizenship Act. Of course, her form is faulty and she can still be, her citizenship can be cancelled, but I'll worry about that later. The question is that in 1950, many people stayed on after the signing of the Nehru-Liaquat Ali Pact. But that Liaquat Ali was a liar. He did not keep to any of the promises he made. And so the persecution of Hindus, Sikhs, Buddhists, Parsis, Christians began in a big way, even after signing of the pact. That is after 1950 and after the Indian Constitution had come into force. And so many people started coming to India. By then, that original constitutional provision that if you were in India, on Indian territory in 1947, you automatically became Indian citizen. No more applied. And so they had to go through a procedure. The Citizenship Act had not been formed, had not been enacted. So they were literally stateless people, and they were designated as illegal migrants. So this group of people who came because of religious persecution were titled as illegal migrants, and they were given a piece of paper saying that you can stay here without a visa till this matter is settled. That is, the question of your citizenship is settled, and after a law has been enacted. But even after the Citizenship Act was enacted in 1955, these people, the Hindus, Buddhists, Sikhs, Christians, and Parsis, they were not given citizenship. And largely because they came running from there, they had no papers to show, which was required under the Citizenship Act, Provisional Citizenship Act at that stage. So a number of appeals were made. Mahatma Gandhi, in his prayer thing before his death, also had made an appeal. Large number of people had made appeals. Jayaprakash Narayan, who had by then gone into Sarvodaya, he made an appeal. So the appeal was there galore that these people should be made citizens. And in the meantime, the United Nations, which had come into being in 1945, in 1948, it enacted the International Law for Refugees. And there they made two significant paragraphs. Those who come on religious persecution, and they had that time in their mind the Jews, the treatment of Jews in Germany. And so who had gone to various countries as refugees but were not being given citizenship. So they said those who have come on religious persecution should be given citizens of the country they're given. They also added a paragraph, those who come to a country illegally without documents for economic reasons, they will not be treated as refugees, and they have to be treated on merit as the sovereign country regards it. So two different categories were created. One for religious persecution, and the other for those who came to improve their material prospects. If an Indian today goes to America and wants to settle down, he has to go through a great enormous process. In some countries, it is even longer. So these citizens, these people who came, they fell in two different categories. They were religiously persecuted people, but they didn't have any papers. So their only thing they had was a piece of paper that they can live without a visa in India, without a time limit. So this went on, and they had to be kept in tents, in camps. And they could not get jobs because they didn't have citizenship. They had no papers. The paper that they had of staying in India had classified them as illegal migrants. So nobody looking at that, seeing they're illegal, was giving them a job. And so on state dole, they were surviving. Generations passed, many of them dead. Then their children also were illegal immigrants. Just because they were born in India, they were not given, because they were in that category. And so a chorus grew that they should be given citizenship. The last person to speak on it in Parliament was in 2003, when the NDA was in power, and the Home Minister and Deputy Prime Minister was Mr. Advani. And the leader of the opposition was Dr. Manmohan Singh. He got up and said, Mr. Advani, have a large heart. I mean, look who's talking about large heart. He have a large heart. These are people who deserve citizenship immediately. But Mr. Advani could not do it for I don't know what reason. And this kept pending. And then when Mr. Narendra Modi came back on his second term, many of us, and especially the RSS, felt that this is an anomaly, an unfairness that needs to be cured. And we had actually originally planned to bring it in the first term, but the Congress objected, saying we want to send it to the Parliamentary Select Committee. It must be analyzed fully, and then only a recommendation will come. The Parliamentary Select Committee then received it in 2016. They worked on it in 2016, 2017, 2018. They gave a report, a majority report, recommending that these people should be given citizenship. But by the time 2019 came, we got it passed through the Parliament, Lok Sabha, but because we didn't have majority, and the elections were near, nobody was in a mood to hear it, so the bill lapsed. And so when the second term began, the first thing we did was bring this bill. It was passed in the Lok Sabha, of course, because we have majority, and a big majority. In the Rajya Sabha, people thought we will lose, but actually we won by a huge majority, because many of the parties today who are speaking, they voted for us. Some parties didn't want to vote for us, but didn't want to vote against us also, like Trinamool Congress. So they absented themselves from the parliament. So therefore, we had a smaller group to get a majority from, and by majority, it became a bill of parliament. A bill became an act of parliament. So that is the legal position. Now, what does this bill say? This bill says that it has been a long-standing demand for these particular people who have come on religious persecution. That is from Afghanistan. The Sikhs were driven out after this. The Soviet Union had captured Afghanistan, and Pakistan and Bangladesh. These three countries, a number of people have come because of religious persecution. They have come illegally to escape persecution, and we have maintained a register of them, and the register has 31,313 people left. Right from 1947, those who are alive, those who came little. So we made a cutoff date that as of 31st December 2014, whoever has come under religious persecution from these three countries, it's an incomplete chapter of partition, and therefore to complete it, it has been decided that these 31,313, of which 25,000 were Hindus, 5,000 were Sikhs, about 2,000 were Christians, 2 Buddhists and 2 Parsis. They will be given citizenship. Since the Citizenship Act says you have to have 11 years of residence in India, including the last year being continuously in India, that was waived and said 5 years for them as a special case, because their people who have been living in camps, they had no records whatsoever, but for 5 years they were able to get ration cards. So on that basis, we decided that the cutoff period, those who came to India on religious persecution before 31st December 2014 and had been in residence in India for at least 5 years, they will get citizenship. Now, unfortunately, there's no Muslim in that register of 31,313. Why there is no Muslim? Which Muslim will come on religious persecution from Afghanistan, Pakistan and Bangladesh, you tell me. You find me one Muslim who is ready to say, I cannot practice Islam in Pakistan and come to our country, I will help him get citizenship. But there is nobody like that. They say, no, there are Shias who are being persecuted. Well, Shias none has wanted to come to India. They all go to Iran. Iran is a Shia country and a prosperous Shia country. What about Ahmadiyas? The Sunnis say they are not Muslims, but the Ahmadiyas say we are Muslims, we believe in the Quran. And when they come out, escape, they go to Bahrain and places like that where it's easy to get a job. And there are people who have come on non-religious grounds. Even then we have been ready to give them citizenship, like Tariq Fateh. But he said, I would prefer a citizenship of Canada because India is too close to Pakistan and I'm speaking every day against Pakistan, so anybody can come anytime and kill me and go. So I prefer a distant country. Taslima came from Bangladesh and she has taken Swedish citizenship. And today I am telling you, any Muslim coming from Pakistan wants to be a citizen, if he fulfills the condition of Section 6 of the Citizenship Act, including the stay of 11 years, he will get citizenship. There was a Hollywood singer called Sami something, Adnan Sami. He got citizenship of India. So I don't understand why everybody is saying and quoting the Indian Constitution that all are equal before the law. First of all, that's a wrong interpretation. Secondly, I am not under obligation to give fundamental rights to Pakistani Muslims unless they, there is some special reason why I should make them citizens. But this concept of equality before law, people don't understand what the Constitution means. So the Supreme Court in a number of judgments has said, Article 14 only means that equal persons shall be, equality is only meant for equal persons. For example, today, scheduled castes are getting reservation. And if I say, or anyone says, I'm a Brahmin, but I am not getting reservation, so Article 14 should be applied, and I should also get reservation on equality of law. Now, what is wrong with that logic? Supreme Court interpreted that to say the situation of those who claim to be Brahmins and those who are scheduled castes is totally different. One has been handicapped, and therefore there has to be given a handicap. And so equality is not between everybody. It is between those who are equals. If I am a student in a school and I get marks and which are the same as my neighbor, my fellow student, and my fellow student gets an admission and I don't get, unless one is a scheduled caste and one is not, there cannot be a discrimination on the basis of marks. So Article 14 doesn't apply at all. But who reads the Constitution of India? Especially film actresses don't read at all. And then they come and give us lectures that this is unconstitutional. Tell me, how is this unconstitutional? And and I was surprised to see Manmohan Singh come and speak the exact opposite of what he spoke in 2003. In 2003, there was no Sonia Gandhi around, so he spoke very bravely. But when she came, he became a pussycat, you see. And then started saying this is unconstitutional and so on. Man who's been Prime Minister for 10 years to speak like this just because he's under pressure of his party. So therefore, I'm saying to you that this whole thing, there is nothing. Now they're saying, now they're shifting the ground because of the arguments that we people have advanced. challenging them to prove it under the, where the law has been broken. It was passed legitimately and legally and according to rules in the parliament, in both houses of parliament. The president reviewed it and put his signature. It has become an act now. What was a bill has become an act. There's nothing illegal in that. It doesn't violate any aspect of the Constitution. They have gone to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court, after mercy, is not listing the case at all because they will have to throw it out. So they felt, it's better just let it keep hanging. The petitioners also not pushing for it. There is no legal argument against the CAA, Criminal Amendment Act. That therefore, this whole argument and the whole movement that is based on this is utter rubbish. I can understand some of the political parties, they see cinemas only, they don't read any books. Like in Tamilnadu, there are many such parties, they have come out and agitated. But I am surprised that people from the universities, professors, are giving long lectures on how we have broken the Constitution. There's nothing to do with the Constitution. Now a new argument is being brought in that really we are using this as a opening shot. Actually, we got in our mind something called the National Register, National Population Register, NPR. And after that, something called the NRC, National Register of Citizens. And therefore, we are going to remove all Muslims. Now, I don't know how they have got this because neither of the two has come in any written form except for Assam. The Supreme Court drafted it and gave it to us. They gave it to Rajiv Gandhi to implement. He did not implement. Then every successive government, somebody would come and file petition, and the Supreme Court would remind them. Finally, when we came to power, they said, we give you an ultimatum that we will enforce it if you don't enforce it. And therefore, we decided to work on this. There we have said that for Assam, that whoever is not a citizen, either by naturalization or by birth, he shall be evicted. Because the Assam people complained that a large number of people from Bangladesh have come for economic reasons. No Muslim has come from Bangladesh for persecution. But he has come for economic reasons. The United Nations, the United Nations International Refugees Act says what? That those who come for economic reasons cannot ask for any special treatment under the law with any government. So, therefore, these Bangladeshis, they have come. Now, I think also one have to think in terms of what is fair and not fair. Why did we partition India? We partitioned India because those Muslims who didn't want to stay with India, with Hindus, they be given a separate country. So Bangladesh Muslims, Pakistani Muslims, they are people who got territory of India, surgically operated out and by the British and given to them, so that they don't have to live with Hindus. And now, having got the territory, they are all coming back to live in the same India that they didn't want to live, with the same Hindus they didn't want to live. So I said to the Bangladeshis, you want to come back to India, then cut a portion of Bangladesh and bring that also along, because that belongs to us. We gave it because you didn't want to live with us. Now you want to live with us, you bring back a proportion of that territory. And 1/3 of Bangladesh really belongs to India now, judging by the illegal migrants that have come from Bangladesh. So consequently, we shall always make a difference. We will always be sympathetic to those who come for persecution, out of persecution. We have been sympathetic to Taslima, we have been sympathetic to Adnan Sami, we have been sympathetic to Tariq Fateh, we have been sympathetic to Salman Rushdie, so many people who wanted to come here. And then they but some of them wanted to stay, some of them didn't, and didn't want to stay. That was not our problem. But I don't think our India can be treated as some kind of dharmshala that anybody can bring his bedroll and put it here and go to sleep. It's not available. Even I think dharmshala has some limit. You can't stay there forever. You have to go leave after some time. So therefore, we are a nation. We have to think of our national security. We have to think of our population. If the Bangladeshi Muslims come here and agree to work for half the rate that the existing rate is, and therefore people to save money give them employment, that is unfair practice. Why should the government of India not protect its own citizens and not let its standard of living be lowered because somebody doesn't want to live in his own country because it's not economically nice to live? Somebody comes for persecution, as I said, is another matter. So what about Rohingyas? Rohingyas are in Burma. In 1944, they declared that their leader is Muhammad Ali Jinnah, and that they wanted to migrate to Pakistan. When 1947 came, Burma became a separate country by the British in 1935 from India. And Burma then held a constituent assembly to draft a constitution. There, 2 nominees of Rohingyas were appointed. And the Rohingyas, both the representatives said, we don't want to participate in this. We want to go to Pakistan. That time Bangladesh was part of Pakistan. And please enable us to go. But Pakistan refused to receive them, even though they are Muslims. Now we are being asked to take them. Why? That's what I said. We are not a dharamshala. Anybody wants to come here, okay, India is a good place to come. Not possible. So on Rohingyas, they may be persecuted by the Buddhists in Burma, but it is not our responsibility. But those people who, because of partition, have been persecuted, we have a responsibility. Because we partitioned the country, we gave them assurance, we signed an agreement with the Pakistani Prime Minister that they will not be persecuted, but they were persecuted. So we have to give them. And once they are here, we have to give them citizenship, otherwise they will be living a miserable life here. To live a life, a proper life, where they can get a proper job, can get proper respect, they have to have citizenship. And that's why we did it. And as far as the National Population Register is concerned, it has nothing to do with citizenship. We just ask them their details, what we are asking in Aadhaar and so on. Aadhaar has not been successful because it has been for other reasons. But as far as register is concerned, it is every 10 years we have a census. But we want to have in between those 10 years, another register which will be updating, and it will also be a cross-check when the census data comes out. So the National Population Register has nothing to do whether you are a citizen or not a citizen. If you are living in India, your name comes in, your address comes in. If you have a Aadhaar card, that is also being recorded. If you have a telephone number, that's recorded. How is that discriminatory? You think that no other country has such registers? Of course they do. Go and live in America and see how many things you have to fill out before they accept you to roam around in that country. After that is the NRC, which is presently only restricted to Assam. The Home Minister, Mr. Amit Shah, said it will be applied all over India. But there's no such thing has been passed anywhere, adopted anywhere, or Parliament has considered it. It is his suggestion, and I personally support that suggestion, because this country has a huge developing terrorist problem. And that terrorist problem has to be dealt with by seeing that whoever is in your country, you know who they are, and they are here legitimately. In the parliament, the DMK people got up and said, what about Sri Lankan Tamils? Has any Sri Lankan Tamil come because of religious persecution? They came, many of them came because of war. Many of them came because they were LTT and they wanted sanctuary. And the Karunanidhi was a very convenient conduit for them. But nobody came because he was a Hindu or even a Christian. And if today some person comes, he'll have to show us in what way is Sri Lanka anti-Hindu. I've been to Sri Lanka many times. Their temples are flourishing. And as far as the southern Sri Lankan Tamils are concerned, they are actually enjoying life. They are much more than they did before. When the Bandaranaike, Indira Gandhi agreement was signed and they were all left high and dry and asked to return to India. And the same congressmen are giving lectures. What about the Sri Lankan Tamils? Sri Lankan Tamils are not coming on religious persecution. If they want to come for a better life, then they can apply under Section 6 of the Citizenship Act and go through the due process. Just as they go through a due process when they go to Canada and go to Australia and New Zealand. So they have to go through the same due process here. They cannot be included in the category for which we brought an amendment recently and passed. It appears to me that this growing unity in our country, and particularly amongst the 82% of the population, is worrying a lot of forces, and especially our neighbors. And of course, our political opponents who see a consolidation of Hindus rising above caste, region, language differences, learning that how the British poisoned our minds to think of ourselves as different parts of India as separate, leading to secession movements. All that is collapsing. A united India, even if it's a united Hindus, because that's 82% of the population, it is a huge, big force for India's national security. We are very ready to cooperate and integrate every other community. The Parsis, they are totally integrated with our Hindu community. The Jews who are left after Israel was formed, many went back. But during persecution, there was only one place in the whole world where the Jews were not persecuted. That was India. And the first parliament session of Israel in 1948 passed a resolution, thank you India, the only country which didn't persecute Jews. Can the Syrian Christians in Kerala say they were persecuted? There is no question of any of them being persecuted under the Indian Constitution anyway. If you have been here for long years, you become a citizen. And if in 1947 you are here, you are automatically a citizen. And therefore you enjoy all the rights which everybody else enjoys. But that doesn't mean we are going to forget the ancient culture of India. The ancient culture of India requires all of us to unite and know that we have a common heritage and that heritage should be taken forward. Even Muslims can participate in that because, as I have found from studies of DNA, Muslims have the same DNA as Hindus. That means their ancestors were Hindus. Otherwise, how can they have the same DNA? And consequently, there's nothing wrong. In Indonesia, they are Muslim. Their currency, one of their, they have a 10,000 rupiah note in which Ganapati's picture is there. And I was taken aback when a Muslim country, it's a theocratic, it's a country where they have said we are an Islamic republic. But when I was Minister of Commerce in the 90s, in an international conference, I met the Indonesian finance minister and asked him, why did you put Ganapati in your note? He said, you see, in 1997, our currency was devaluing very fast. And nothing would stop it. And we didn't know what to do. So somebody from Bali came, a Hindu Pandit, and he said, if you put Ganapati's picture, it will stop falling. So in the cabinet, we said, we have tried everything, nothing has worked. Let's try this and see if it works. And we printed currency notes with Ganapati in it, and it stopped falling. So therefore, we are keeping, and they're still keeping it. The airline is called Garuda. All their names are Sanskrit names, or derived from Sanskrit. In Jakarta, in the middle of this main thoroughfare, they have a huge chariot with Krishna sitting, advising Arjuna. They are not, many people used to have asked them, You are Muslims, how can you have all this? They said, we have changed our religion, but we have not changed our culture. That is what we want in our country. And that one culture will come when we all rise above caste, regions, language differences, recognize our unity. And I think that it is a very good thing that for such a simple, ordinary thing, the opposition has made such a big hullabaloo that the mainstream of India has united with us. We have our reports suggest that the silent majority is with us, and therefore this has been a great step forward for us. Thank you very much.
Dr.Swamy will take questions from the audience.
You want a microphone?
Yeah. You have a mic?
Questions. The name. Just say.
You can ask your question. First give your name and then ask the question. Thank you.
Sir, my name is Nitya. Namaskaram, sir. What is the difference between NRC and NPR? And also, how does NRC relate to CAA, the amendment that we have made?
NRC has no connection with CAA.
No connection.
CAA is only for those who came to India from religious persecution from 3 special countries, specific countries, and they have been here before, at least 5 years before 31st December 2014. And that's all. NRC at the moment is restricted to Assam, which says that all those who came illegally from Bangladesh shall be evicted. It doesn't make a difference between Hindus and Muslims. Those Hindus who came from Bangladesh can prove that they have come because of religious persecution. They will be treated in a new amendment to come in the future because they won't come under this category because they have no way, they did not put themselves in the register before 31st December 2014. So that has got a different subject, a different scope, and has nothing to do with people coming from Pakistan, Afghanistan and Bangladesh for religious persecution. As far as the population thing is concerned, that is for all people living in India, whether they are citizens or not citizens. We just want to know who are the people living in India and what is their address and what is their telephone number, and we want to keep a directory of that, and that is got again nothing to do with CAA. See,
Even NRC should be extended to other states, right? Because we don't want illegal Bangladeshis to other states.
No, we don't want illegal any foreigner.
Any foreigner.
Even if Sonia Gandhi is tomorrow declared as illegal foreigner, she can also go. But I would say that yes, we are for all India. I'm only saying that the idea was first thought of by the Supreme Court only for Assam. But when we extend it, we don't need Parliament vote for that, by the way. It's an executive order. And that time we will extend it. But at the moment, let us get this work done and then move on to the NPR, which is the population register, and after that the All India NRC. I can ask questions in Tamil also if you want.
Sir, Namaskaram, sir. My name is
Huh.
I have 2 questions to you. One is that.
Speak into the mic.
One is this. You are going around educating people about CAA and other aspects of this question law. What is the government doing about it?
Who? Government.
We are a small group of people sitting here listening to you. Yes, we have clarity, but what about the rest of them? It is pushing them into kind of an intolerant situation right now. Because most of the people are not informed, and that is why we have the situation.
Yep.
And that is true for every other act that the government is taking.
Yep. Well, I'm a professor, so I have a habit of going around giving speeches.
But something more has to be done. You are closer to the ruling party, and
Yeah, I will.
some more request has to be done, and something has to be done about
Well, they take it personally if I say that I'm doing better than you see. So anyway, I agree with your basic point. The government has failed in its information, submissions, and the people have taken advantage and have worked on the ignorance of the people. The media has been manipulated, and even cinema stars have jumped into the fray without understanding anything. So yes, today's agitation, the government must bear responsibility for being ill-prepared to meet the consequences of passing this act. We'll have a new act, new amendment act. When you find I don't think there's anybody left in Pakistan now to come. Afghanistan is also more or less cleaned of. I think we only got our government officials in Afghanistan. Bangladesh, we have been very tough with the Prime Minister, and so she has cracked down quite a lot. But most of the people coming there are coming for economic reasons, and that's very hard to stop. And you can't stop by having BSF, one more division of BSF, because they get bribed. See, one of our character weaknesses that we have inherited from the British times is accepting bakshish, you see. So we have to find the only way we can cure this problem is by evicting back those who came illegally. And then when that message goes around, we are not the only country having that problem. Look at the Americans, they have it on Mexicans. And what a lot of debate is going on whether a wall should be built or not a wall should be built. So therefore, any country which prospers in a better way than its neighbor, there are bound to be illegal immigration on economic grounds. But we have to protect our borders to see our own citizens don't suffer because of the incompetence of your neighbors' governments.
Good morning, sir. My name is Bala Murugan.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Bala Murugan, I want to ask two questions, sir. One,
yes.
Could you explain the process of NRC when it is covered for all over the country? Because all sorts of nonsense are spread by the opposition parties and the media people.
Yes.
Because the kind of questions the papers do, if you don't have, all kinds of fear-mongering is done. Especially beyond the politicians, the mainstream media is doing that.
Yes.
This is the one question. The second is, what sort of action can be taken against the media people who intentionally spreading misinformation, and it is going beyond any limit, sir. Thank you, sir.
First of all, I don't know what the NRC is because nobody knows. Because we have not come out with a draft of NRC yet. We have only given the concept. And but when the draft comes, then we can have it vetted. Of course, we'll send it to the law ministry and get a clearance from them that it has been drafted according to the Constitution. The Constitution will protect anyone from for their constitutional rights. So NRC cannot take away anybody's constitutional rights. But so these people who are speaking about NRC, ask them to produce a draft. Tell us which draft are you relying on. They will not be able to. But you see, this cinema culture has spoiled everybody. So anything can be said at any time with a suitable dialogue to follow it. So I think as far as the media is concerned, the more sensational the news, the better for them. They sell the papers better. The media TRPs go up. So how many media people can you catch? And then there will be screams, there's suppression, so on. So I would say that if you ever come across any utter falsehood being uttered by media, please get hold of some friend of yours who's a lawyer and ask them to file a case for 5 crores damages. And you will become rich also, and they will also learn a lesson. I have done that with many newspapers, so nowadays no newspaper wants to publish anything about me because they're afraid that I might file a case against them. Government does that, then there will be a bigger howl. See what we have done, we have just tried to maintain law and order in Jawaharlal Nehru University.
And Jawaharlal Nehru University is a stinking hole. I want it to be closed down for 2 years and everything, everybody evicted and then a lot of DDT put there to clean it up. And, otherwise it has been, people have been living in hostels for 10 rupees a month for 30 years and 40 years and doing their politics. They don't mind failing over and over again. And so I think JNU is an example. And see what a hullabaloo they have created. And let the police report come out, you will be shocked. You will find that terrorist organizations as PFI and all have got involved. This government is the despair of all terrorists. You see, the Narendra Modi's record in fighting terrorism is so good, it's not publicized. It's not only that we have not been able to rebut bad news, but even good news we have not been able to put out. There used to be 300, 400 deaths a year due to terrorist firing in Kashmir. Now it is down to 9. And in Kashmir, 0 in the last 3 months. But there is no publicity for it. So, of course, it's the fault of the government. Because they have got party spokesmen who don't read and write, and therefore they only go and utter the usual stuff. You need people who will study and analyze and then go and speak on it. In the நான் சார்ஜ் பண்ண மாட்டேன்.
As someone who has moved with both of you and was derived so much of guts from you people, நீங்க பின்னாடி இருக்கல்ல முன்னாடி இருக்கல்னா ஒரு தைரியம் இருக்கும். இப்போ நீங்க சொன்ன மாதிரி அந்த 5 கோடின்றது அது டாக்டர் சுவாமியோட பிராண்ட் அதனால. பட் இப்போ எங்களுக்கு ஸ்பெஷலி தமிழ்நாட்டுல எங்களை பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் so much of anti-national inflow இருந்ததே கிடையாது. இந்த பர்టిక్యులர் இதுக்கு ஏன் டாக்டர் சுவாமியோ டாக்டர் சந்திரலேகாவோ ஒரு லீட் எடுத்து எங்களுக்கு why can't they lead us? We are prepared to come in with it. This is becoming a very very bad state. அவ்வளோ மோசமா இருக்கு. தமிழ்நாடுனாலே எவ்வளோ சின்ன every second person becomes தலைவர் here. அல்ல every second person ஒரு படம் நடிச்சிட்டா ஒரு படம் டைரக்ட் பண்ணிட்டா அதுல so they're not able to fight them. Why can't, as someone who has moved with both of you and as someone who has derived a lot of guts and was learnt a lot from you both, this is I would like to you people, because I think only you people are fit enough to do that.
நான் ஒரு உதாரணம் கொடுக்க முடியும் உங்களுக்கு இது பத்தி. In 1991 Chandrasekhar was Prime Minister, I was the senior most minister, I had 2 portfolios at that time, commerce and law. So he told me that this Karunanidhi is passing all state secrets that we share with him to the LTT. That is, state secrets we share about LTT to the LTT. So what shall we do? So I said, you give him a warning, and if he does it again, then dismiss the government. So he did it again. So I now told the Prime Minister, you dismiss the government. So we had a cabinet committee which is a subcommittee of the cabinet on security matters, where all the IB and the Intelligence Bureau, everybody, all present, and only 2 or 3 ministers who are senior most are present. And the question came up, what shall we do? And I pressed that dismiss the government. Karunanidhi at that time, out of 232 seats in the assembly, he had 210 or something like that, a huge majority. And he was part of some national front or something like that. And so Chandrasekhar looked at the officers, they said, no, rivers of blood will flow. Independent Tamilnadu will be created, and this and that. So I told him that you have a choice, either to have rivers of blood or you have a separate Tamilnadu, because Karunanidhi is planning to secede the country with the help of the LTT. So finally Chandrasekhar said, you take charge of it, I'll give you full powers. So I arrived here and put myself up in this Connemara hotel and then plotted this. that we will dismiss the government and hold fresh elections. And there was that time a DGP called Dorai, I think. He committed suicide later. I called him and I asked him, we plan to dismiss this government and I don't want any buses to be burnt and peace to be maintained. Can you do that? He said, well, I'll have to then resort to police firing. I said, yes, go ahead, fire. He said, people will be killed. And then there'll be a commission inquiry and all that. So I took out a pad from my pocket and wrote on it, on behalf of the government, I authorize you to kill up to 5,000 people for maintaining law and order. And I said, show this to all the police stations and get hold of all the history charge sheeters, list which police stations have, and say that you have got orders to shoot to kill. And then anything happens, a commission inquiry comes, you give them this letter saying that this is Dr.Swamy on behalf of the government who ordered us. You will be surprised that not only no bus was burnt after dismissal, but even a cycle was not burnt. And I searched for Mr. Karunanidhi where he had gone. He had gone to Oliver Road, hid himself and put a lock outside on the door so that people think nobody's at home. So finally I sent somebody there to tell him that we have no intention of arresting him. I will tell you, this Tamil Nadu, all these fellows, they are a terrible minority. If the central government decides to crack down, they will not stand here because the majority of the people in Tamil Nadu want peace and quiet. They want to pursue their life in peace and quiet. And therefore, I don't have to stand for election here. If tomorrow Tamil Nadu things really get bad, I will start putting pressure on Mr. Narendra Modi to dismiss the government here, whether it's this government or that government, I don't care. But any government which allows ISIS, PFI, all these people to carry out anti-national activities in Tamil Nadu, they have to be taught a lesson. Just as LTT was taught a lesson, the same way these people have to be taught a lesson. It is not the question of lack of political representation, it's a lack of guts. And that you must teach your children that. Otherwise, most of the mothers will say, "Ayyo, in the bambila iska ninga lang kar tane vele paathu povunga idella arasiyalvadigalku enna pandralo adu vittu kodunga." That is the mentality that we have today. You infuse fear into your children. Instead of that, infuse courage. Tell them to be rational, not irrational in the use of courage. But I think Tamils have a long history of fighting. The Cholas, Pandyans, even the Tirumala Nayakas, they did such valorous acts to keep Tamil Nadu safe from foreign invaders. We seem to have lost this culture when the British came and made you all into clerks. So that we have to now go back to our old Tamil culture and revive the spirit of fighting for your rights.
Good morning, sir. My name is Virat. I've been a great fan of your recent writings, including your book Reset. So my first question is, if the economy continues to disintegrate, how likely is it that all the illegal Bangladeshis voluntarily go back and Bangladesh implements its own CAA?
Well, Indian economy will not be permanently in a bad shape, because we were in bad shape in 1965 when we were almost on starvation, and very soon afterwards we had Green Revolution. In 1990, when I became minister, we were about to default on foreign exchange payments. And overnight it all changed and we started growing at 8% per year under the leadership of Mr. Narasimha Rao. So India is never going to come down to that kind of position where people want to leave this country. Most people come, this is a very unique country. We have still democracy. And democracy, by the way, is inside the hearts of the people, not because of our education. When Mrs. Gandhi declared election in 1977, America, that time I had escaped twice to America. The second time I escaped. After landing in America, suddenly Mrs. Gandhi announced elections, so I said I'm going to go back. So all my colleagues at Harvard University told me, why you want to go back? Democracy is not for poor people, where you have such a large population of poor people. Only the educated people understand what democracy is. Mrs. Gandhi is sure to win the election. Now, when the results came out, I found all the educated South voted for Indira Gandhi. But it was the uneducated North which voted her out and defeated her also. And that's how we got democracy back. So this ancient culture of ours, whether you are educated in English or not, it doesn't matter. That Indian tradition has always been democratic. And therefore, many of the things, the qualities we have, these will one day be the factors which will bring us back to a fast economic growth. So you don't worry about that. And of course, if Modi comes to, to a new realization and makes me finance minister, I'll do it in 1 month.
What and who is stopping you to be FM?
Yes, that's a good question. As far as who becomes minister, it's always the prime minister. But I have a disqualification. I'm not only an economist, but I'm also a politician. And all politicians are always worried that you appoint somebody who will do well, then he'll now become contender for your seat also. So I think many of the people are telling Modi, be careful of Swamy. Once he will improve the economy, then he will say, Modi, you better leave. Now I can be a better prime minister also. So that fear factor is the reason why I'm not becoming finance minister.
Dr.Subramanian Swamiji. I'm from Shiv Sena. I'm a learning politician.
Which Shiv Sena? The Bombay one?
Shiv Sainik of Tamilnadu, Chennai.
But not of Maharashtra?
Tamilnadu is...
Are you connected to the Shiv Sena of
Balasaheb, Hindu Hriday Samrat Balasaheb Thackeray ji.
All right.
I have a question, sir.
Okay.
I know that our party, Shiv Sena party, voted in favor of CAA in Lok Sabha.
Yes.
And we remain neutral by not voting either in favor of CAA or against CAA.
Yes.
But as far as I know, as a learning politician, as a proud citizen of this India, that whatever laws are passed in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha become an act. But I'm confused to see that the Kerala Chief Minister passes a resolution on the Citizenship Amendment Act that the people of Kerala are against this. So I find some kind of treachery in this. This is treason. So instead of always recommending emergency or just removing the government in Tamil Nadu, 30 Hindutva Karyakartas were brutally murdered in Kerala. Why don't you straight away dismiss the Kerala government? This cannot happen in this country. And I'm proud to say, I'm proud to say that not even single minority should be left in that Pakistan and Bangladesh. I want everybody, because for every square kilometer there are only 250 Pakistanis. But in India we have 440 people. And I don't mind if...
Now your speech, you can't give a speech. Huh? The speech only I can give, you can't give a speech. First of all, what did the Kerala Assembly resolution say? Can you tell me what it said? Kerala Assembly. Did you read the Kerala Assembly resolution? No, what did it say? What did the Kerala Assembly say?
It says that the entire Kerala populace are against citizenship amendment.
No, it didn't say that. You have not read it. That's the problem with giving speeches, you see. You must read. Go home and go to download from the website of the Kerala Assembly the exact text. What it said is that this act that the Government of India has passed in Parliament is not acceptable, full stop, and the Government of India should withdraw this amendment. It did not say that we will not implement it. If it had said that we will not implement this, then Article 356 can be applied and the Kerala government can be dismissed. Secondly, about the killings that are taking place, we have to make out a case because there is a Supreme Court judgment called the Bommai judgment, under which circumstances you can dismiss a government. Now, I cannot accuse the Chief Minister without having any evidence whatsoever that he directed the killing of RSS people or Shiva Sena people or anybody, but that it was not done by PFI, it was not done by Marxist cadres, all that, and then dismiss the government, an elected government. They will go to court and they will be vindicated. So what I have to do is to see that those who are doing the murders, we catch them. In the last 6 months, I have not heard of any RSS man being killed in Kerala, because those killers know what will be the consequences. So therefore, that is what we need to do. We have to create an environment where people can live freely. In Kerala, the communists are in power, but now the communists have lost everywhere in the country. They were, lost in the world also. They used to say there's no inflation in Soviet Union, there is no unemployment in Soviet Union, there's no poverty in Soviet Union. Now there's no Soviet Union also. So therefore, they are contracting now. They are getting their national vote is only 1.5%. So don't worry about them. They are on the way out. So get ready for the cremation ceremony of the Communist Party.
Sir, good morning. Sir, Sandhya. Sandhya
Yes.
from Perambu. Sir, there was a chinna doubt.
நம்ம
வந்து இது ஆக்சுவலா வந்து நீங்க வந்து மத்தவங்களுக்கு ஆன்சர் கொடுக்கணும். ஆக்சுவலா நம்மள கேக்குறாங்க, என்ன கேக்குறாங்கன்னா, என்னென்னவோ பண்ண வேண்டியிருக்கு நாட்டுல, இதெல்லாம் விட்டுட்டு இத போய் இவங்க இதெல்லாம் பண்ணி உட்கார்ந்துட்டு இருக்காங்க. வேணும்ட்டுமே இவங்களோடது ஃபோக்கஸ் எம்ப்ளாய்மெண்ட்டுக்கு வழி பண்ண தெரியல, அதை பண்ண தெரியல, இதை பண்ண தெரியல, அதெல்லாம் விட்டுட்டு இதையே நோண்டுறாங்க. இவங்களால கம்முனே இருக்க முடியாதா?
பொருளாதார அமைப்புல நம்ம வந்து முழுக்க தோல்வி தான் பெற்றோம். அதனால அதுல வந்து நீங்க வந்து விவாதம் பண்ண வேண்டாம். It is a fact that the economy we have miserably failed to and there are reasons for it and it can be turned around. And I'm sure that if the crisis gets any bigger, even the Prime Minister will be forced to take those steps by which the things can improve. It's not that we haven't had crises in the past. Munaliyum crisis irundhirukku pala. 1990 இருந்தது, விபி சிங் பண்ணிட்டு போயிட்டார். அதுக்கப்புறம் நாங்கள் வந்தோம், அதை சரியாக்கினோம். நரசிம்மராவும் அதை வந்து பெரிய அளவுக்கு சரியாக்கினார். அதே மாதிரி வந்து சைனா அட்டாக் அப்புறம் வந்து டிஃபென்ஸ்ல வந்து நம்ம மிகப்பெரிய தோல்வி பெற்ற பிறகு இப்போ இன்னைக்கு என்ன பெரிய ராணுவம் நம்மளோடது இருக்கு. அவர் ஆர்மி இஸ் நவ் த fourth largest in the world. ஸோ அதனால அதுக்கப்புறம் நாங்கள் எப்பயும் தோக்கவில்லை. 4 வாட்டி பாகிஸ்தானோட வார் இருந்த பிறகு 4 நம்ம ஜெயிச்சோம். ஆகவே I would say that you should be don't argue on things which you can't argue. For instance, on the economy, it is not defensible. The government has failed. But the economy, this is not the only thing. We have done extremely well in protecting our country. We have taught Pakistan a lesson twice, one by surgical strike and then by that attack on Pulwama, where we blew up all their terrorist factories. We have tried to bring in national integration in a big way. We have defended the rights of Hindus and those who are religiously persecuted by bringing a law. Yes, unemployment all this is there. And we admit that we have not followed policies by which we could correct, but just wait a little more. And it's better than having a government which is constantly stealing our money, just like the previous UPA did. And all of them now are on bail and soon will be in jail. So therefore, that is no alternative. There is no alternative. There's only one of us and we've got to improve and we will improve.
நமஸ்காரம் சார், என் பேர் கண்ணன், நான் டிஆர்லேன்னு. ஹிந்துத்துவா அண்ட் ஸ்பெஷலாக தமிழ்நாடு பற்றி
சொல்லுங்க.
பிரச்சனை என்னன்னாக்க, 70s 80s இருந்த யங் பிரெயினை வந்து பிரெயின் வாஷ் பண்ணி ஹிந்துஸையே வந்து ஹிந்துஸை எதிர்த்து பண்றவங்களெல்லாம் சப்போர்ட் பண்ற மாதிரி பண்ணிட்டாங்க. இதை நம்ம வந்து எப்படி திருப்பி கொண்டு வர?
அது உண்மைன்னா இந்த கோயிலெல்லாம் இத்தனை பெரிய கூட்டம் இருக்கு, எதுக்கா இருக்கு இங்க தமிழ்நாட்டில்? பின்ன இல்ல ஹிந்துவை எதிர்ப்பு பண்ணி கோயிலும் போறாளாவா? பின்ன that is hypocrisy, you see. யார் இந்த இந்த நாட்டில் தமிழ்நாட்டில் மக்கள் வந்து சும்மா இருக்க வாய்ப்பு தின்னு உட்காந்துருக்காங்க. எதுக்கா இந்த வம்புன்னு வீட்டிலேருந்து வெளியில் வர்றதில்ல, ஓட்டு போடுறதில்ல, பணம் கொடுக்காட்டா ஓட்டு கொடுக்கறது இல்லை. இது மாதிரி எல்லாம் அந்த கெடுதல் காரணம் தான் இன்னைக்கு சில பொறுக்கீஸ்கள்லாம் சேர்ந்து உங்களை வந்து மிரட்டத்துக்கு அளவுக்கு அவளுக்கு தெம்பு வந்திருக்கு. ஆகவே நீங்கள் எல்லாரும் வெளியில் வாங்கோ, எல்லாரும் வந்து எலெக்ஷன் ப்ராசஸில் யூ டேக் பார்ட். அதான் நல்ல கேண்டிடேட் நின்னா அவருக்கு வந்து உதவி பண்ணுறதுக்காக நீங்களே போய் அவருக்காக பிரச்சாரம் பண்ணுவோம், அவர் கேட்குறோ இல்லையோ. அப்படி பண்ணா I can ask Chandralekha to be the next candidate for Chief Minister. ஆமா, கோவில்.
கோவில்லயே வந்து திருட்டு பண்றது வந்து முஸ்லிம்ஸோ கிறிஸ்டியன்ஸோ வேற ஜாதிக்காரங்கள விட இந்த மக்கள் தான் பண்றாங்க, ஹிந்துஸ் தான் பண்றாங்க. இது வந்து ரொம்ப பெக்யூலியர், தமிழ்நாட்டுக்கு மட்டுமே நடக்கிறது.
அது ஜெனரலா சொல்லாதுங்க. நான் வந்து இந்த சபாநாயகர் நடராஜ் கோயிலில் வந்து டிஎம்கே தானே கையில் ஆட்சி வந்து தானே கையில் எடுத்து பிறகு சுப்ரீம் கோர்ட்டில் போய் நான் அதை வந்து அவளுக்கு விடுதலை பண்ணி கொடுத்தேன். அவள் வந்து இதேமாரி இப்போ திருப்பதிக்கும் நான் வந்து செயல்படுறேன், கேஸ் போட்டிருக்கேன். எல்லா கோயிலையும் கவர்மெண்ட் வந்து அடுக்கணும்னா வந்து இந்த மோசடி நடந்திருக்கு, அந்த மோசடி நடந்திருக்கு, அதுக்காக கவர்மெண்ட் வந்து அதில் வந்து ஃபினான்ஷியல் மேனேஜ்மெண்ட்காக அதை வந்து இன்டர்ஃபியர் பண்ண முடியும்னு சொன்னால், நான் சுப்ரீம் கோர்ட் வந்து என்ன கட்டளை வாங்கியிருக்கேன்னா 3 வருஷத்துக்குள்ள இதை பண்ணி திருப்பி கொடுத்துடணும். இங்கே வந்து வருஷமாக வந்து கவர்மெண்ட் வந்து இதை வச்சுட்டு அதை வந்து அதோட இருக்கிற சொத்தை வந்து சுரண்டி வச்சு அதை வந்து யாருக்கு கொடுக்கலாலோ அவள் வந்து எம்எல்ஏ எல்லாம் எல்லாருக்கும் இடம் கிடைச்சிருக்கு, நிலம் கிடைச்சிருக்கு. அது மாதிரி வந்து நம்ம இந்த நம்மளோட வரலாற்று அதை மாற்றணும். அதுக்காக வந்து நீங்கள் கோயிலுக்கும் போங்க, அங்கே வந்து புஜாரிகளை பார்த்தேன்னா வாழ்கிட்ட சொல்லுங்க, வந்து கோயிலோட பேரை இன்னும் கொஞ்சம் பெருசாக ஆக்கிறதுக்காக நியாயமாக வந்து நீங்கள் செயல்பட வேண்டும், ஒரு உதாரணமாக வரணும். அப்படி நீங்களே வந்து கற்றுக் கொடுங்க வாழ்க்கை. ஆனால் கோயிலுக்கு வந்து கவர்மெண்ட் கைப்பற்றக்கூடாது, அது அந்த சட்டத்துக்கு கொண்டு வரதுக்காக நான் முயற்சி பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கேன். இது ஸ்டாச்சு அது இருக்கட்டுமே சார். அது மேலே குருவி உட்காந்துட்டு என்ன பண்ணுறாலும் உங்களுக்கு நல்லா தெரியும். அது இந்த ஸ்டாச்சூஸை வந்து ப்ரொடெக்டே பண்ண முடியலையே, எல்லா இடத்துலையும் ஸ்டாச்சூஸ் பண்ணி வச்சுடுறா. அது வந்து அதை நம்ம எப்படி நிறுத்த முடியும்? கோயில் அதான் அது நடக்கிறது நிறைய. அதுலயும் நாங்க பண்ணிருக்கோமே. இந்த ஒரு தஞ்சாவூர்ல வந்து ஒரு கோயில்ல இருந்து ஒரு நடராஜ் ஸ்டாச்சுவை திருட்டு பண்ணி போய் லண்டன்ல வந்து ஆக்ஷன் பண்ண பார்த்தா, நான் அங்கேயும் கேஸ் போட்டு அதை வாபஸ் கொண்டு வந்திருக்கேன் தஞ்சாவூருக்கு. ஸோ அதுக்கெல்லாம் இதெல்லாம் வந்து இந்த வியாதி நம்ம நாட்டில் நிறைய ஸ்மால் பாக்ஸ் இருக்கு. இனிமேல் ஸ்மால் பாக்ஸே கிடையாது, ஜாஸ்தியே இல்லை. நம்ம நாட்டில் இந்த வியாதி இருக்கு, அந்த வியாதி இருக்குன்னு அந்த விவரம் கொடுத்து நின்றேன்னா அப்புறம் ராத்திரி தூங்க முடியாது. ஸோ லுக் அட் த பாசிட்டிவ் சைட் ஆல்சோ. இதெல்லாம் நடந்திருக்கோ அது வந்து அதையும் வந்து சில சமயம் சொல்ல வேண்டும்.
Dr. Swamy, namaskaram. My name is Suresh. So here.
Yes.
Right, yeah. So what would have been the consequence or the impact if the CAA text had used the words prosecuted minorities instead of using the specific religions, given the fact that you're saying that there
prosecuted? What do you mean by prosecuted?
Persecuted, sorry. Persecuted minorities.
Persecuted minorities. Persecuted by what? These United Nations only recognizes religious persecution.
Yeah, religiously persecuted minorities instead of the religions themselves, given the fact that you're saying that there are no Muslims who are claiming citizenship in India based on that.
Yes.
So wouldn't that have been easier to pass or...
Well, that's hypocrisy, you see. I mean, you people are satisfied with just a terminology change. I'm surprised.
No, it's not just...
What else it be? No, the fact is that the Hindus are persecuted. The fact is Christians are persecuted. Buddhists are persecuted. Parsis are persecuted. They are all different religions. This is not Hindu religion. You just because Muslims have been left out, I have to change my entire terminology.
No, it's not meant because the Muslims are...
Then what else is it?
It is a perception battle also.
What?
It is a perception battle also.
Perception of what? Jawaharlal Nehru University. I don't care. You read it and you find out whether these are people who deserve to be called in that category. That's it. I can't change the language just because that is a smart way of doing it. I don't want to fool the people. I want them to know that Hindus are being persecuted. They will be looked after in this country.
Sir, namaste, sir. Krishnan. Sir, Krishnan from
Yeah.
State. Sir, எனக்கு ரெண்டு டவுட் இருக்கு சார். அதாவது ஃபர்ஸ்ட் வந்து for the government வந்து first I am congratulating for bringing this legislation CAA. பட் ரெண்டு நாள் முன்னாடி ஒரு தேசிய வார இதழ் அதாவது ஒரு ஃபைனான்சியல் டெய்லியில் நான் பார்த்தேன் இந்த மாதிரி பெரிய 5 ஸ்டேட்ஸ் வந்து இதை வந்து இம்ப்ளிமெண்ட் பண்ண மாட்டோம் அப்படின்னு ஒரு அனௌன்ஸ்மெண்ட் கொடுக்கறதா ரிப்போர்ட் பண்ணேன்.
பத்திரிகையில வந்து எப்படி நம்ப முடியும்? எழுதி கொடுக்க சொல்லுங்க. அந்த கவர்மெண்ட் எந்த கவர்மெண்ட் வந்து இம்ப்ளிமெண்ட் பண்ண மாட்டோம்னு எழுதி கொடுக்க சொல்லுங்க. Tomorrow we will dismiss that government. Yes, Article 356. You are not following the. Please read Article 256, which says that if the central government gives any instruction to the state government, which is constitutionally valid, and the state government refuses to implement it, then Article 356 can be enforced, which means dismissing the government. It's there. This the same thing happened with Karunanidhi when we dismissed the government. We told him, don't have anything to do with LTT. He didn't listen. We dismissed the government.
Sir, there is a next part, but this very good things are being done by this government.
So,
nationalist thing. But will we lose it because of the political formation?
That is of course that is the strength of the opposition. They are making black into white, white into black, and we have to learn some lessons from that. I agree with you that we need to be our propaganda should be much better than it is. And there are some shall I say, structural problems within our party why this is not happening. I think one or two knocks that we get will make us wake up and rectify the situation. This is not a long-term problem for us.
Sir.
Thank you.
Sir, here, sir.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
இந்த question வந்து regarding CAA இந்த புதுசா கிளம்பி இருக்கிற இந்த மேட்டர் பத்தி எக்ஸ்பர்ட்ஸா இருக்கிற பிரகாஷ் ராஜ், அருந்ததி ராய் இவாலெல்லாம் வந்து they are creating so much of misinformation to young people who haven't read. We have to be honest, if we haven't read, we haven't read. But இவால எப்படி டாக்கிள் பண்றது? எல்லா பிரச்சனைக்கும் கவர்மெண்ட்டுக்கு அகேன்ஸ்டா இவால கிளம்பிட்டா இது என்ன பண்றது? செகண்ட் ஒன், இந்த ஏர் இந்தியாவோட இஷ்யூனால அதை பத்திலாம் வந்து எதுவும் அதை குவைட்டா அமைக்கிறதுக்கு இந்த சிஏஏ இந்த டைமிங்கா இல்ல அடுத்த வருஷம் அப்புறமா கூட கொண்டு வந்திருக்கலாமா? சிஏஏ வந்து இந்த வருஷம் இப்பதான் கொண்டு வரணும் அப்படின்னு
இப்பதான் கொண்டு வரணும்.
அது வந்து அது டிசைட் வந்து ஏர் இந்தியாவோட
எப்பல இருந்து நாம வந்து எதிர்பார்த்துட்டு இருக்கோம்? 1950ல இருந்து. It should have come in 1950 itself. But this delay. It should have come in 2016. Again delay.
Economy, we have failed in.
That
but you are giving so much reset.
No, that is agreed. That I am told you we have failed in the economy. There is no question about it. I have no doubt. But I can also tell you that we can rectify it. And some of us are working to see whether the Prime Minister can be persuaded to change the methods that he has adopted so far in dealing with the economy. He changes that, and so that there can be change brought in, real change brought in, and the matter is rectified. That's another matter. But in so many areas we have succeeded, and there's no appreciation. Then of course, your lack of appreciation in the economy becomes meaningless.
So the Break India forces in the அருந்ததி ராய் மாதிரி ஆள்லாம்
அது இருக்கட்டுமே சார். இந்த நாட்டில் வந்து ஜனநாயகத்தில் வந்து இது மாதிரி யாரெல்லாம் பேசாலும் பேசுறதுக்கு விடணும். அதுக்கப்புறம் வந்து மறந்து போயிடுவேன். போய் சொல்லிட்டோமே, போய் சொன்னா வந்து கர்ம வீதியில வந்து அவளுக்கு நல்ல அடி கிடைக்கும். யமா வரப்போகுது.
Namaste, Dr.Swamy. I'm Venkat Mitra here.
Yes, okay.
Is NRC taken to back burner by the government? If so, on strategic interest or due to political compulsions?
No, NRC is a requirement for as far as Assam is concerned because of Supreme Court direction. But we say, why only Assam? We say that we want to do it in every state. And Supreme Court has not objected to it. If you are going to target foreigners in Assam, why can't you also target foreigners in other parts of India? And therefore, there in Karnataka, I know that a lot of Rohingyas have turned up there. They have to be dealt with. So we must know in each state who's foreigner, who's Indian. And that we'll do when we do an all India NRC. But at the moment, the first thing we'll do is for Assam, satisfy the Supreme Court, and then we'll do it for the other states.
So we will take 2 more questions in the interest of time.
Yes, sir. Okay, one here.
Good morning, Dr. Swamy. My name is Prasad. I'm from Chennai.
Yes.
I have 2 parts for which I want your response or reaction to it. One is basically to take off on what you were talking about
Yes.
NRC,
Yes.
where people have been urged and provoked to give wrong information or no information at all.
You mean Arundhati?
Whoever.
Not whoever, only one.
Yeah, Arundhati, and there's a lot of Muslim
Huh?
organizations.
Mamta Banerjee.
There
Oh.
are a lot of Muslim organizations over
Ah.
the last few weeks who have taken a lot of
Yes,
positions,
yes. Yes,
echoing the same.
yes. Yes,
Now, if, for example, my name doesn't figure in the NRC,
yes.
or I give wrong information, and therefore with other identities, cards or other identities that I might have, doesn't tally with the wrong information, I don't exist in the records as a citizen, which means I probably can't vote in the future. If something like that happens and a large mass of people do not figure to vote, what is the kind of
No,
response?
first know the procedure. No, I'll stop you in this and then hear the second question. When the NRC is completed, it will be published. Then you find your name is not there, you immediately put a petition, I'm a citizen. Well, how come my name is not there? And then the government has to hold an inquiry. Whether you are a citizen and what happened, why did you excluded? And then satisfy you. And if you are a citizen, you will be put back in the list. It is not a final list unless it has been tested by inquiry.
The second part is we were talking about the vibrancy of the democracy.
Yes.
You're saying that the so-called illiterate not upholded democracy where the... Now, I want your reaction on a statement which a writer had made. I mean, he was recently deceased. And he said, to uphold a vibrant democracy, we need a touch of autocracy.
You touch it?
Autocracy. Because you need to, somebody has to enforce democracy.
No. All the power that people in power can exercise is in the Constitution, and you can't go beyond it. There's no touch or non-touch. We need a Constitution. For instance, fundamental rights. Have you got complete freedom on fundamental rights? No. Fundamental rights to speak is subject to reasonable restrictions. If Article 19 bracket 1 bracket A gives you the fundamental right to speak, the same Constitution, Article 19 bracket 2 prescribes the limits of your fundamental right to speak. You cannot say that I will break my country. That is there in the Constitution. But nobody reads 19 bracket 2. And they say, oh, this 19 bracket 1, my fundamental right. So, can I pray as I like? No, you can't. People said you can't abolish triple talaq because it's part of Islamic religion. And Article 25 gives me fundamental right to profess my religion. Yes, but it also says subject to reasonable restrictions. And one of the reasonable restrictions is equality of man and woman. And that is violated by triple talaq. So we got it dismissed. They went and challenged it in court and got dismissed. So therefore, the Constitution is very clear. There is no such thing as absolute fundamental right to do anything. They are all conditional fundamental rights.
Sir, my name is Meena Vishwanath. My question is that we are very much happy about the administration at the central level all of that. But in Tamil Nadu, if you see the electoral polls, most of the time the anti-Modi sentiment is being spread so much that it is winning. So when will we have a very strong, charismatic BJP leader in Tamil Nadu? Because we all are very much dissatisfied.
When the central leadership asks me who should be the charismatic leader, then only it will improve. The present BJP can never improve. In Tamil Nadu, that is.
Namaskar. I am Siva Prasad from Madurai.
Yes.
Regarding this Liaquat Ali Pact,
Yes.
does it imply that the Hindus and minorities in Pakistan are de facto citizens of India and vice versa?
No, if they come here claiming that they were religiously persecuted and give some evidence of that, then they become citizens. But then we'll have to wait for another amendment act, because this present amendment is only valid for those people who came 5 years before December 31st, 2014.
Last question.
Good morning, sir. This is Pratosh from Chennai. My question is for example, regarding the Citizenship Amendment Act or whatever it is, whatever happens, the Congress or the opposition, mainly our Bhuttu, the Rahul Gandhi, says Constitution is murdered, democracy is murdered. Except you, nobody is ready to give as you get. You have in your Twitter, I give as good as I get.
Yes.
No BJP person or nobody is not able to defend. I mean, they are not giving a clarity. Today you gave a wonderful speech. Hats off to you, sir. And the second thing is, regarding economy, again, what I feel or what others feel, majorly even in your followers on Twitter and everybody, when you become a finance minister, there is a chances that everything will turn. And another thing, though this is adversity, I would like to take it as an opportunity, being an optimistic person. Even though the economy is crumbled, I am sure the time will force whoever it is, be it Modi or anybody, to make you a finance minister. With your Paramacharya blessing and my best wishes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, last question.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, his was not a question, so you can have the last one.
Good morning, sir. My name is Arul Rajarajan.
Yes.
I am an alumnus of JNU, proud alumnus of JNU.
JNU, you are an alumnus of JNU, yeah. We have also got 2 ministers who are alumnus of JNU.
Sir, I have 2 questions. One is regarding the legislation. As an MP, Parliament has a very less time in legislating, and as you said, for a bill to become an act, it has to go through a lot of stages. But why is the CAA Act very specific? I mean, it is specific to 3 countries, specific to certain religions. My question is why is it so specific? Why is it not a generalized?
It was made specific by the Congress Working Committee, a resolution passed in November 24th, 1947, where they said that minorities in Afghanistan and Pakistan, that time there was no Bangladesh, and are to be protected by giving them sanctuary in India. And they are welcome to come to India. That's how it started. And then it went on. The last act was the Chief Minister, Congress Chief Minister of Assam, Tarun Gogoi, who wrote to Narendra Modi just after becoming Prime Minister that please see that all those who have come on religious persecution to India are immediately given citizenship. And so that is where the setting was done. Afghanistan, after the Soviets came and the Taliban came, all the Sikhs were driven out. So that's how Afghanistan came.
Sir, one last question. Yes, sir, please go ahead. And that's it. With that, we close the question and answer session.
I am your fanatic, not a fanatic. I see all your YouTubes and I know what you are going to tell also. Every speech you add something new. For that new addition, I used to listen to you. First thing, why our party did not mobilize, though we are ruling so many states, why did not we mobilize? You told that we are getting good reports that 60 to 70% people are supporting our CAA. Why we have not mobilized? Why we have not shown our
Sir, talk on the mic, please.
Why we have not shown our strength to the minuscule minority. Here people, Seeman and all are telling, he does not win even a single councillor seat. He is telling we will stop it. How can he say? But we have not mobilized.
That is called cinema dialogue. Don't worry about it.
Okay, thank you. Secondly, the media bashing, media is telling lies and lies only.
Yes.
If we have given license to them, we must have given some clause, definitely, that we will not spread the lies or something.
I understand.
If not our government take action.
No. Yeah. In a democracy, you can't take action on anyone who says something you don't like. There is an old saying, when the caravan moves, dogs bark, but the caravan doesn't pay attention. We are the ruling party. We have passed it through parliament. We are going to implement it. What is going to happen? If the people get swayed and they vote against us in the next election, we can't do anything about it. But as far as we are concerned, our assessment is that the silent majority in India is with the BJP on this issue, and we'll show it when the elections come.
So with this, the question and answer comes to an end. I hope you all enjoyed it. So from the venue partner, Rasikaranjani Sabha, Srimati Aruna Ranganathan, Vice President, Mr. R. Nagarajan, and also Mr. Chella. R. Nagarajan is the secretary, and Chella is the joint secretary. I request them to come to honor Dr.Swamy and the rest.
90-year-old organization RR Sabha takes pride in presenting a small memento, and we are only requesting Mr. Subramanian Swamy to make this venture more and more in Tamil with a group of people where we are willing to take along with him to the entire the Tamilnadu for making this excellent, the implications to make with all the significance of whatever he says. Probably it is in Tamil had it been made. Things would have been little better. Not today's meeting I am talking about, for the entire Tamilnadu people I am talking about.
We'll certainly do it, sir. We did this in English because we wanted this because it is also going live and later in YouTube. So we thought it will go all India and also internationally. But certainly we'll do it exclusively in Tamil also, sir.
I request Dr. Swamy to honor the team.
Honor whom?
The Rasikaranjani Sabha team. So I request Swaminathan to give the vote of thanks.
Namaskaram. I take this opportunity to give you a vote of thanks. It's a privilege and an honor for me to do it here. First of all, I thank God for giving this stage and opportunity for us to be present here and hear Dr. Swamy on the most debated topic in India for the moment. Thank you, Dr. Swamy, for your time. And special thanks to Chandalekaji for organizing this. And special thanks to Jagdishji for making it happen. And thank you all for coming and gracing us on our working day. Wish you all the best. Thank you. Take this opportunity to especially thank Rasikaranjani Sabha for giving this space at a very short notice, and also Tamilnadu Police for extending us their protection, and also media and social media followers who have been helping us to trend this. Thank you.
Next will be national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंधु गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा धव शुभ नामे जाहे धव शुभ आशीष माहे गाहे धव जय गाथा जन घन मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे